And we are live. Welcome back, Warriors. Welcome to another episode of the Consistency Conversation. Today we have Benjamin Collier. I call him Ben. We met a few years ago while we were both stationed at Fort Bragg. He does Airborne. He got his 82nd shirt on right now. GSAB. Welcome, Collier. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
Good, man. Well, welcome to the show.
Big turnaround lately.
Yeah, I've noticed you've been posting a lot more in the group, and what I want to do is give you opportunity to introduce yourself, and we can start this conversation however you want to start it.
All right. Well, I'm Ben. Grew up here in this beautiful state of Florida. And then 18, I got convinced to join the Army because I was told, man, you'll be in Hawaii in a tower. You're going to love it.
Yeah, all those lies, right?
Then I wind up in the snow of Korea.
Yeah.
But I joined the military, did that for 4 years. Came back to Florida for a little bit. Moved out to Texas for about a year and been back in Florida since. Just working on actually putting roots down this time.
What did you do in Texas?
Were you? I don't remember if you were at Bragg when Holder got there.
I left Bragg. I retired in 17, so right around the beginning of the year when I kind of sort of checked out because my replacement that came in. So right around the beginning of 17, when I was pretty much off the books.
I think he got to Bragg in March of 17.
Okay.
But he lived in Texas and he was like, yo, you should come visit us someday. And I was like, I'll just move out there. I was already packed for a road trip anyway.
Yeah.
And I just spontaneously moved to Texas for a year.
What part of Texas?
I was in Austin.
Austin, yeah. I bet you had fun down there. Was it 6th Street down there?
I loved it.
UT?
6th Street was, man.
I know.
That's where you go if you don't want to remember.
Yeah, I heard because like I was stationed in Fort Hood, and when I was in Fort Hood, I was what rank? I was E5, E6 there. So a lot of the younger soldiers would go up there. So I got a little promotion, so I didn't really want to hang around them there. That whole conflict of interest and all of that stuff. So. Yeah. When I lived there, I had a couple buddies from AIT that were at Hood, and they would come down every now and then. That was kind of fun. Yeah. Well, I know I've been seeing you post a lot more. I see you on your fitness grind on a consistent basis and stuff like this. Where did your fitness journey kind of sort of start, or kind of take us along, some of the things that you've been through, or just a view into your fitness journey, like where you kind of sort of started up until where you are right now?
Through the timeline of my life, the patches where I did physical stuff, I think it was 8th grade. That's when I started watching WWE stuff on TV. Yeah. And I was like, man, I'll join the wrestling team. I'll hit people with chairs. And then I found out what it was, and I was like, this is actually kind of cool. But I was like 4'6", 75 pounds.
Me.
And and then so in 9th grade, I got to high school, a little bit taller, 4'10", maybe about 90 pounds. And so they had like spring football tryouts. And here I come looking like a little twig.
Yeah. You bulked up to 90 pounds.
I was struggling to bench the bar. That thing was 45. It was rough. And then I kind of dipped off in 10th grade year. I got back into wrestling, and I was still small, but I got a lot of wins just from nobody else small enough to wrestle me. And then in 11th grade year, I kind of dipped off of that, and I got more into running. And then as I finished up my 12th grade year, that's when my buddy was getting me interested in joining the Army. And then that's when I really got into running, and I looked up all the warm-up routines and stuff. And that's when my like interest really first started. Because when I went to the recruiter for the first time, they did like a 1-1-1 assessment, and my 1 mile time was like 8:36, and you needed 8:40 to join. And I was like, I gotta get better than that.
You barely
so I would run. So I'd run with my brother on the weekends, and I'd run twice a week with the recruiter station. And by the time I shipped out, my time had went down to 7 minute flat, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's good. You took like 1 minute and 36 seconds off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's
up. And
then
once I joined the Army, well, you know how that goes. Fitness is like a routine, but I didn't really get into extra fitness until I think my first year at Bragg, when you didn't make it mandatory, but you highly suggested it. Yeah. And
got to
like once we got into that habit, like we got looking forward to it, like all of our team, and that's how it is now. Like now that I reignited that passion for it, it's like I look forward to it. Like yesterday, after I did my workout, I was in the bathroom and I was already practicing workouts for tomorrow, and I'm like, man, that's one of my notes too. For something like this, for keeping consistency, it has to be like you got to be passionate about it. And that's something I haven't had in a while, and it feels great to have that.
What happened, or where do you think that passion, because you said you had to kind of get reignited, so where did that passion come from? Like, did you just like wake up one morning like, oh, all of a sudden I'm passionate, or like did you see a video? Like, what kind of triggered that mindset?
I guess I'll rewind a little bit. So when I was in Texas, I would run. I wouldn't work out, but I would run occasionally. And it started off with a 2 mile, and then I was like, well, I'll do that twice. And then at some point I worked my way up to 10 miles, and I was like, man, like even in the Army, I was not in this shape. And then when I moved back to Florida, I would run that neighborhood too. And then I had personal issues pop up, and like a lot of things got put on the back burner for a long time. But and it wasn't until just recently that I had time to figure in the gym. And so it's just I'd say a recent finding of free time that's reignited the passion.
Yeah. Free time. How old are you?
20, almost 26 now.
So you're 25. So I'm 20 years your senior. I'm trying to think back to what things were like when I was 25. I think I was in the military, or was I? Because I had a 3-year break in service. So I just remember.
Like 01?
Was it 01? 75? I don't know. I ain't good with math right now. I didn't cut the math brain off for the night. But yeah, man, I was never like had that mindset right there, like at your age. And I think the reason why is because I was already in the routine of working out all the time. So I will say that one thing that, helped me with being in the military, but also didn't help me was like, I worked out because I kind of had to, because it was the thing to do, and it was just normal to me. But once I got out and I didn't have to work out, I had to kind of get reignited too. Because when I got out, I was still hard charging, I was still, I'm still, I'm retired now, blah, blah, blah. And I still was working out. I never really dropped off a lot, but I did have those moments where I didn't want to work out. You know what I mean? And I was okay with sitting around. And I knew that there was not going to be anybody that was going to really challenge me to work out. Like Sergeant Williams would challenge me to work out. You know what I mean? So it's like just being around whether he
Your
actually
legs could use some work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he didn't even have to say anything. You know what I mean? But just when you're around other people, and they're working out, and at least for me in the military, like it was easy to rub off.
That's one thing I tell people all the time. They say, when people ask, like, what do you miss about the military? I said, the closeness.
Yeah, the cohesion.
Yeah, because like on the good days, everyone has a good day. And on the bad days, everyone has a bad day. And you don't have to worry about, hey, do you work tomorrow? You know, it's not coworkers, it's like a family. And I miss that. And it's nice because you get one person motivated, then you get 3 people, then you get the whole office.
And everybody have the same goals, kind of, sort of, at the end of the day. Like we all know we have to take, the fitness, the APFT every year, at least twice a year. So everybody has that same goal, to at least, if nothing else, everybody's goal is to at least pass. You know what I mean? At least most people. Some people, want to be on the extended scale. I don't have an issue with that. Some of
profile,
us, yeah. Some of us wanted to stay 270 and above at all times. That was one of my goals. You guys pushed me. Y'all young guys coming in there and like being good at running, being good at push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. As an old guy, phasing out of the military and stuff like that, it was still a challenge. Like I wasn't the dude that I was going to sit around and let y'all whoop me every single day at PT. I'm like, heck no, I'm gonna get these little young punks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, like I said, so, being around these people in the military, it was really effective if you had the mindset or if you needed the motivation to, to do the right thing and to, get in as good of a shape as you want. There's unlimited amount of gyms on post for free. So there was one, I always enjoyed that. Always liked the flexibility of being able to go to the gym anytime I wanted. Then I got out and I had to pay for it.
Yeah. It kind of changes it. You're like, oh man, I better think this through.
Do you go to a gym right now, or are you at home, or where do you do most of your workouts?
I go to a gym that's not too far from my job.
Okay. You so are you doing more lifting weights, or are you like into running now? Like what are you into right now?
Mainly weights. I try to, every now and then I'll throw in a run. I'm kind of like you said earlier, nobody's there to check me anymore, but if I start a run, I'll finish a run.
Yeah.
That's one mentality. That's why some days I skip it, because I'm like, I don't want to half effort it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I do a run, I'm going to do a run.
Yeah. But what are some of your big runs or your little runs when you actually do them? Like, I know one time you said you got up to like 10 miles. Do you ever do 10 miles anymore?
Honestly, I feel like I could work back up to it, honestly. Because, and that's another thing. 2 years ago, I think you saw the post recently, I hurt my knee.
Okay. And you fell off the bike or something?
Yeah, I came off. I came off that ramp and my leg just went completely sideways. Ugh. And it swelled up and I couldn't move it. And I went to the VA and their advice was, don't use your leg. And I'm like, well, thanks.
That's less than what you got in the military. At least in the military, they would have gave you some, they would have told you to put some water on it and gave you some Motrin. Some 800 milligram Motrin.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'd have been good. The VA didn't give you nothing. They just told you to stay off of it.
They gave me a brace, and I mean, I kept off it, but I didn't want to just let it sit. I would move it and stuff, and that's why it amazes me now that I do run. It amazes me that I can leg press and all these exercises, because 2 years ago I thought running was a distant dream. Yeah,
I know. I had back surgery. I had back surgery when I first got to Fort Bragg years ago. That sucked. So
did you ever jump?
Never jumped, man. I sneezed and threw out my back. So I was in Korea, sneezed, threw out my back, blew out 2 discs. A couple months later, I was on the operating table. But
jeez.
yeah, I mean, it was a good thing. It had to be done. I'd rather have it done when I was young, versus waiting until later on in age. So, now I would recommend it. It helped me, and I'm able to do a lot of things now. I'm not perfect, but I'm able to do a lot of things that I don't think I would have been had I not had the surgery. I still talk to men around my age that, still haven't had the surgery. And I'm like, man, you getting a surgery? Like, nah, I ain't trying to do it. And I mean, I get it, mess with that vertebrae and that spine and them opening you up and putting you to sleep. Like, I totally get it. The fears of surgery and stuff like that. But I took my chances. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go on and do it and knock it out and whatever it be is whatever it be. How many years? You said you did 4 years?
Yeah. 4 years.
You were a control. You were a controller.
Yeah, I was a Quebec.
Yeah, I just remember a couple people in the unit were like other MOSs and stuff like that. So you was in the other platoon. So y'all was over there doing y'all thing. Y'all wasn't like us, but you know what I'm saying. It is what it is.
I was in terminal.
Who's platoon? Who did you work for?
You.
No, not me, but like directly.
Martinez.
Oh yeah, Sar Martinez.
I saw him when
my dude. I liked him.
When I moved out to Texas, I stopped in Louisiana and saw him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's in Louisiana now? That's not where he's from though, right?
No, he's not there anymore. But at the time, I stopped out there and saw him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked to...
I think he was from Florida originally.
Okay, yeah, I think so. I talked to Hall not too long ago. He was doing okay. Yeah, he's doing good right now, I think. The last time I checked him, he was doing okay. Living the life like everybody else, transitioning, making changes, making moves, and different things like that. You got any long-term fitness goals?
Fitness goals?
To be jacked like Song Winners?
Not necessarily jacked. I mean, at some point. Yeah. And that's the thing. I was just talking to some friends about this the other night. Is that I don't really have a specific. I want to get like Devera shredded.
Yeah.
But like, I want to keep building. Yeah. And when I get to that point, I'll probably be like, you know what? I probably could like do some cutting, man. Mm-hmm. But right now, that's one of the things I have noted, like the importance of pictures.
Ooh,
I take a lot of pictures and stuff, and I know there's like, oh, that's conceited, but I do it because after a workout, I'll look at the picture and I'm like, that ab could use more work, or that tricep could, and that's how I'll put my workouts together too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
I'll look at the pictures or the videos from that workout, and I'll be like, all right, I need to correct that form and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had an interview with someone not too long ago, and we were just talking, actually yesterday, and she logs her workouts, and I think she got into her workouts and was logging them because it wasn't necessarily for the group, it was so she could track her progress. You know what I mean? And I think at the same time, what that does, especially like when you're in a group, join our group, please. When you're in a group, what it does is it
gives that motivating aspect.
Motivation and accountability. You know what I mean? Because not only do you see yourself, but others see you. And because that's, I think taking pictures are very important. I tell people to take pictures, front, back, side to side, all those different things like that, because I've struggled with the mental part of that. A few years ago when I had a trainer and stuff, I was at Fort Bragg and I was training and I was going to do a show and stuff, and I had a trainer. And I was like, man, I reached out to him and I was like, bro, look, I don't think it's working, man. I don't feel like it. I ain't seeing the results and everything. And what he did was he pretty much like, he sent me back the picture that I sent him like that week. And then he sent me like the picture from like week 1. And you could see the difference. You know what I mean? But I was so caught up in my mind and so caught up in, I couldn't see the progress, but he could see it. And, sometimes when you see yourself every day, in the mirror, you might not always see that progress. And when you see them pictures and you see the before and after pictures of 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, Man, it is almost like a whole new, it's almost like a fire being lit under you. Like it'll help you get out of that funk, you know? My table's moving.
And that's one thing I like about the group too. Because for one, I wanted to like start logging like what the starting weight for each exercise was, you know? And then next week I'll add 10 or 15 pounds. And then next week I'll add 10 or 15. And that's one thing I like, because I know in the group I'll post, join the group Consistency Fitness 365.
Yeah, join it.
In the group, I'll post the screenshots all the time. And it's mainly a way for me to keep track of like at least the statistical growth. And then the
data,
the pictures are the way to see the physical growth. But even on the days I don't see any difference up here, I'll look at like how much weight I did, how many sets I did, and I'm like, that's better than last week. And it's nice to have a way to see you're making yourself progress.
Are you on a specific program or like anybody's plan or anything? Because I noticed like you have like workouts, you have routines, you have all of those, and you know, you said that this is, you know, something not new to you, but your fire got reignited. And a lot of time when people first start off, again, everybody doesn't seem as organized as you are. Like you seem very organized. You seem like you have a plan. It seems like it's well thought out. Even talking to you, you know, it seems like this ain't something you're doing just willy-nilly where you just grab something off the internet and say, you know, I'm gonna do this. So where did that come from? Or are you on someone's plan?
That military training, that's what it's from. I mean, half joking, half serious. A lot of the workouts I did originally, I was just thinking back, like, what did we do in the Army? And I remember when we used to go with like Hall and Dow and stuff, I remember we used to do shrugs, bench, curls and shrugs. And I was like, all right, I'll just start with that. And then I like on other days, I was just like, well, I remember for legs, what do I used to do that make my legs hurt? And I was like, lunges, I hate those. Leg press, hate that. And I was like, I'll just do all those because I know it's going to work. And then I was on Instagram and I just found a bunch of pages because it shows you like suggested feed, and there were a bunch for like random workouts. So I just followed a couple, and I'll scroll through, and if I see a workout I like, I'll try it and alter it, you know, to my specifications. But
yeah. So for you, is fitness a way of life for you now? Like, are you at the point, because like it took me until I was in my early 40s until I realized that, it could have been, like I said, it could have been part of it was because I was in the military, but it took me like I was in my 40s, early 40s to realize that this is every day for me. Like, this is just a lifestyle. This is part of what I do. This is part of brushing my teeth. Like, are you there yet? Like, do you have that same mindset that like, this is a lifelong investment, or is this for you, you know, I'm back on the wagon and I'm gonna ride it out as long as I can till I get my goals? No,
the way I look at it is, and this is an interesting, like, this can kind of give like a life backstory too, but the way I look at it is, not just in the gym was I looking for what did I do in the military, just overall in my day, I was like, how did the military organize us? And I just modeled my normal day after, you know, I'm not in the military, but I'm put myself back on that schedule, you know. And so that's kind of how I've kind of devoted my time here lately. And it's just been like a lot better, like overall improvement. You know, my sleep cycle is back. I'm eating on a normal schedule. I'm a lot more active, and it just goes to show maybe they're onto something with that schedule they got.
Yeah. Well, they say that, you know, billionaires, you know, are very routine oriented. So have to be something said there. And I think, you know, if you're successful in the military, like, you have to be routine, you have to be stay on schedule, and you have to have those discipline. Got to have that discipline. Oh, that's a good one. Let's transition into discipline. All right. So Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. I see you got your note. Go ahead. What you got?
I was gonna say, the first thing on this list is I want to hit on the 3 A's:
Okay.
awareness, acceptance, and accountability.
Let's do it. Awareness. What else?
Awareness, acceptance, and accountability.
Okay. I like that. Let's start with awareness. You talking about self-awareness or just awareness in general?
I would say awareness in general, but I mean, it's always nice to be self-aware as well. You know, you gotta be in touch with your mental health as well as your physical health, and that's an important aspect. You know, it's just as important to exercise your mind as it is to exercise your body. So I all the time love challenging myself, whether it's just simple stuff like doing puzzles or just anything to keep me active, you know, stuff like making videos or playing games.
Yeah.
But or going to the gym, but just being aware that, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna miss out on that, or if I do that, I can't do that. You just got to be aware of the decisions you make and, you know, the outcomes that can come from them, whether that be good or bad.
I like that. What about acceptance? Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna let you roll with it, man. You give it to me how you want to give it to me.
I'm gonna be honest. I forgot where I was gonna go with acceptance.
I don't know. Well, we come back to it, man. Because even with accountability, like you touched on a little bit of accountability in there too, and I think that's a huge thing. You know, a lot of us are not really accountable to ourselves, but we like to hold other people accountable. You know, like we'll say, like a waiter or waitress that won't, you know, bring us our food right. He's like, well, you know, you were supposed to bring I wanted my steak medium, not medium well. You know what I mean? And they'll get mad, you know, like, you're not doing your job. But like when it comes to certain things about ourselves, we don't always hold ourselves accountable. Like, you were supposed to get up this morning and go work out and you didn't. You know what I mean? So are you going to hold yourself accountable? Are you going to give yourself consequences? I don't know. But I think having accountability is huge in fitness, mental fitness, financial fitness, physical fitness, all the above, man. You got to have that accountability.
Especially, I like how you mentioned the financial accountability as well, because that's another thing I'm working on improving too. You know, I have a budget app. You know, it has like, this bill comes out this day, and I put in, you know, my other expenses and whatever, and just keeping myself accountable. You know, no one's gonna tell me don't use your card.
Yeah.
You know,
don't
you
swipe.
gotta keep you gotta keep yourself to it.
Yeah. And that's good. And so then go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, and even with, you know, financial fitness that, you know, if you're stressed out and, you know, you're broke and you don't have money and different things like that, those things can add on to your mental. You know, it can affect you mentally, it can stress you out, you can cause you to gain weight, all these other things, which also, you know, which can in return affect your overall health and fitness. You know, so I know, you know, in the group, we talk about physical fitness a lot, but I'm a huge believer that fitness is not just physical. It's, you know, mental, financial, relationship fitness, like all the above, you know, and I think that as humans, we have to be kind of balanced and well-rounded in all of those. And when we have some imbalance, you know, one thing can affect the other, you know, just like you're saying, if you have, you know, your money jacked up, you know, you may have to work a second job. If you have to work a second job, you may not find the time, or you may not put the priority on your physical fitness, which can in return affect your health, you know. So it's a whole big cycle of a bunch of different things that we have to do on a consistent basis in order to remain fit all 365 days a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And yeah, it's like an overall thing, not just fitness is this. No, it's your entire lifestyle, and it's making sure you're giving the best performance you can in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, so you can be the best version of yourself.
And that's one thing. Finding balance recently has been interesting, because like here recently, like I had A and B, but I was missing C. So now I have B and C, but I'm missing A, and just finding that balance in like the waviness of life,
like the APFT. Like the PT test, like people that fail their PT test or something, like they'll go super hard on running, and then their push-ups and sit-ups will drop, or and then they're like, oh man, I failed my push-up. They go super hard on push-ups and sit-ups, and they stop running, and then but you got to hit all three, at a certain pace or a certain level in order to be successful at all three, and the balance.
That's another thing where consistency comes in. Yeah, consistency and balance. Because I know, like, for certain exercises or routines where, you got to do something with your right arm, then your left. I'll notice, like, if I'm doing rows, my right arm, I can do that all day, but my left arm is struggling. But, like, I still lift the same weight, because at first I was like, well, what if I just lift more weight with this arm? Then I was like, well, then it's going to forever be uneven.
The balance.
So, yeah, it's like I have A and I'm working on B, and just getting everything level. And that ties into when you ask what my fitness goals are. Right now, I just want to get everything like to at least body weight. I want to be able to do everything at how much I weigh. And then at that point, the way I see it, anything else is just extra.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel like if I can lift myself with every part of my body, I feel like that's, in my eyes, 100%. And anything above that, that's an improvement. So
yeah.
And I'm stubborn and I'm cocky. So once I get to 100% in my eyes, I'm gonna be like, all right, now I want to get bigger. I want to see. So I look forward to one day just looking down and be like, how's it going, Sergeant Winters?
Man, yeah. There you go. Shout out to Sergeant Winters. He hit a couple of shout outs on here. Yeah, I gotta have him on here one day. He's funny. I like that guy. When you we had
a lot of good people out there.
We did, man. We had a really good platoon. You mentioned Devera earlier. She did a show. She did really good. She's still doing her fitness thing and stuff like that. So it's good stuff, man. I like to see. I like to see, now that I'm gone, I like to see what everybody else is still doing. I like how seeing you guys are still successful, still doing stuff, still, have taken some of those key things that you've learned in the military, or may have, added on to your knowledge, in the military, like discipline and stuff like that, because, it takes discipline to be successful in the military. It takes discipline to be successful in your fitness goals. What do you think about discipline? Like,
I think this is actually going to be an interesting topic. I would say that when I went into the military, I had no plan on life in general. I was jumping into the deep water with no idea where I was landing. And I was joking with some friends a couple of years ago about, like, I lived my life backwards. I lived a lot really quickly at 18, going from high school to a foreign country, and like getting married and all this stuff, like super young. And but all of it, good and bad, taught me discipline. It taught me a lot of life lessons really quickly. Like, by the time I could even buy a beer, like, I had been through so many experiences. And all that discipline, all that experience, all those conflicts and resolutions, it prepared me for after I got out, and not in the ways you'd expect. Whenever family things popped up, or relationship things popped up, job stuff, friend stuff, uncle, sister, brother stuff, you know, all that discipline, that training, those experiences, the leadership lessons, that stuff just naturally comes back to you. And I feel like the military experience you get, whether it's, you know, a month or a year or 20, I feel like that's a lot of experience, a lot of life lessons that a lot of people don't get. And so to kind of experience that all really quickly, and you know, I think I was like 22 or 23 when I got out, and to have all that collective experience, you know, moving forward in my life. And, you know, the more I went on in life, I realized not everybody has gone through experiences we have. And I realized there's a lot of resources and benefits and stuff that, you know, I've gained over the years, like knowledge wise and mentally and stuff. And that's stuff I like to pass on nowadays.
Yeah.
Kind of like you said earlier, how you want to get guys together and kind of like give like mentorship advice, like stuff lessons you hear from your uncle and stuff. Like, hey, make sure to shave your head, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, stuff like that.
You keep talking about a lot of the benefits and the different things that the military had to offer. Have you ever thought about going back in?
I actually, I think it was 2018, or it was a couple. I think I had to wait 9 months after I got out to reapply. But at the time I had gotten this, and they said just off of this alone, I couldn't go back in. And I was like, man, I'll just put a glove on.
Yeah. That's why I
still got my camo and everything. Yeah.
Like for me, it felt like I didn't get my full sleeve and stuff until I got out, because like when I was in, you know, I didn't always look at the regs or know the regs when I was young. I just heard rumors, and it seemed like they would go back and forth about whether or not you could have long, you know, full sleeves, but when it came down to wearing like the Class A uniform and the blues and stuff, you know, certain units or during the 20 years, they wouldn't allow you to like wear short sleeves like in Class A. You couldn't wear like your Class Bs. And I was like, man, I don't want to be walking around in the summertime with long sleeves on. So that was the main reason why I never did get a sleeve until I actually got out. You know what I mean? Because I had and another reason why I asked, would you thought about going back in? Because I got out for 3 years, and I had a platoon sergeant, squad leader named Sergeant Hardy. Shout out to Sergeant Hardy. Sergeant Hardy was like, you getting off, Martin? I was like, yeah, man, I'm out. I'm done with this. And he was like, yeah, you coming back in? I said, dude, ain't no way in the world I'm coming back in the Army. I couldn't wait to get out. Man, I got out 3 years later. I was back in the military. 17 years later, I retired. So that's why I asked, have you ever thought about going back in? Because like when I got out, I wasn't talking about going to the military. It was just, I got frustrated with my job. I got frustrated with being a civilian, not being able to grow like I wanted to. Because I was young like you. I was like 22 years old and I was out. And I was working for a company and I made it to like third in charge on my shift. And I couldn't get promoted anymore. And I was like, man, this sucks. You know? So I went back in the military where they couldn't stop me from getting promoted. But then my goal was only to get a job and a skill and then get out. So I became air traffic controller and ended up staying in.
I definitely gave it thought. I know when I was in Texas, I was talking with some buddies, and that's when they got me, you know, into the idea of, you know, looking into like a DOD, like a government job. So I applied with the FAA and TSA out in Texas. And I got to the interview stage with TSA, and, you know, it was just a matter of, you know, getting transportation to and from. And then the pandemic happened, and, you know, life changed. And there's a lot of times where I think like, you know, if I didn't do this or I didn't do that, you know, and I could go back in, like sometimes I'm like, I would consider it. But then other times I'm like, I like not having to wake up.
Yeah.
And I can still like kind of live the lifestyle. Like I can still be active. I can still, you know, mentor friends, be there for people, motivate people and stuff. And that's where accountability comes back into it. No one's going to make you be nice. No one's going to make you work out, you know? But that's just something that was, and discipline, that's just something that was drilled into you. You know, it's common sense to us at this point in life. And it's just a natural thing.
Do you feel like, you know, you talk about discipline, and then you was talking about, you know, mentoring or giving information back to people. Do you feel like do you feel like in your 4 years of the military that you came across some, you know, that you had some good leaders, some good leadership along the way? You know, because I know, you know, I had 20 years and I've had some good ones and I had some bad ones. How were your experiences with your leaders and leadership while you were in? You don't have to throw shade on nobody if you had a bad one. You don't have to roast nobody.
I think I know in AIT there was a couple of them that were just super motivated.
Yeah.
And you could tell when they looked at the formations, they can just tell who's motivated. So like there were some NCOs that would pull us aside. Hey, if you're going here, you know, try going to this school. If you're going here, talk to this sergeant. And so that was my first real, I wouldn't count basic training with the drill sergeants because that's just like prep work. But AIT was the first real example of leadership, I'd say.
Good.
And then when I got to my first station over in Korea, I was a little fuzzy, no rank. And I'd say the leadership was more geared towards, you know, learn ATC. We need to get you qualified and progressed. So as far as learning my job, leadership was really good over there. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to leave that in any bad way or anything, but that's that point. And then when I got to Fort Bragg, you know, I was a specialist. I had been in for, I think 2 or 3 years at that point, 2 years. And that's when leadership transitioned to, all right, here's how to lead a team. Here's how to fill out a NCOER, you know, here's how to, you know, show up to work on time. Here's how to get your drinking under control. Here's how to, you know, save your relationship. And that's when the leadership, I feel like it became not so much like trainer to trainee, but more, how do I put this? Man to man, person to person leadership.
What month did you get to Bragg?
It was I think September 2016.
Yeah, see, that's why we didn't have a lot of interaction. We had minimum because I was E7, so I didn't talk to y'all a lot. I mean, I did, but there was a gap.
I think you were around for a couple months, and then you were on the way out.
Yep, I was on my way out, and I kind of had retirement. What do they call it? Short timers. Yeah, I was heading out. You know, I was ready to go. And then like the way I handled things, you know, it was, you know, Sergeant Martinez is in, you know, all your NCOs, this is their job to lead you. You know, my job is to kind of sort of is to fly top cover and make sure that they have what they need so they could lead you guys. You know what I mean? So I didn't grow up with great leadership in the military. A lot of the great leadership that I got, I had a long time in the military. But when I got it was a good thing, and I was super willing to pass it on, especially at the end, man. Like, because I knew like we had a good team, you know. We had a couple of little issues. We had, you always got onesies and twosies, and that's just part of it. But you make the best of it. But yeah, man. I remember some of those small PT sessions and stuff like that, because I was still doing PT then. I was about to retire and I was still doing PT. I like doing PT. I guess like for me,
fun.
It is. And my thing with PT always was this: if I'm gonna be in charge and we're gonna do PT, then we're gonna do PT. If we're gonna be out there for an hour every day or hour and a half, then I ain't gonna be out there wasting y'all time. And that's what I charged, Song Winners and those other staff sergeants and NCOs with at the same time. Like, don't be out there wasting soldiers' time, and I think that can carry on a lot in our personal life. And I think in not so many ways, that's kind of what you're doing, is you're not wasting time by you having a schedule and having a routine and having things written down and modeling your life in certain aspects after the military. It's like, dude, man, that's some good stuff right there. we learned some good stuff in the military. Sometimes we don't always think about it until, someone talks about it, you have a conversation and stuff like that. So now that we've been talking about it, it's like, I see a lot more. And every time I talk to somebody in the military, because we have a like mind, we all think the same in a lot of ways, because, we're all in the same boat,
Yeah. We're playing.
Mm-hmm. What are some what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. What else you got on your list over there? I want to make sure we touch on everything you want to talk about.
I got the 3 A's.
Mm-hmm. I like those.
Building routine and creating habits.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I touched on that,
Yeah.
Thinking back to what did I do back then.
Mm-hmm. Do you do any do you do anything? I know you said you do certain things that's hard, like you say you do puzzles, different things like that. But do you do any type of like mindfulness exercises? Listen to like certain podcasts, or anything like that?
Yeah. In fact, recently I started listening to a bunch at work.
Mm-hmm.
Because the past year, the past year was just brick wall after brick wall. And I hit like an absolute low point. All right, I guess there were some nights I was sleeping on sidewalks. And then finally a friend let me stay with him. And I got hooked up with like a veteran center that was like supposed to help like homeless veterans and stuff.
Yeah.
And I still feel bad because I would hate to say that I was a homeless veteran.
Yeah.
But I ended up there, and they were. Yeah, it's like a situation you never think you'd be in.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I moved back from Texas, it was right when the pandemic happened. Because when I originally left Texas, I was thinking, all right, I'll move back to my old house.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a job at the same place I worked, and everything will just go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved back to Florida. Every store is closed. Nobody's hiring. Good luck paying rent.
Yeah.
And so it was not a good time. And then I had other personal issues pop up. So, I lost track of like my wallets, my IDs, all that stuff. So I had to like regather everything in my life from scratch. And considering all that, I'd say I'm doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, you did it. And you did it like you've had all of those things to happen to you. Like, you went to the military, had all these things, and then you said that at some point you were sleeping on the sidewalks, and you're 25 years old. You know what I mean? And you're working on your fitness, and you're here having a conversation right now. You know what I mean? So it's we all have challenges. We all have different things that we go through in life. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people may not understand, they're like, how in the world you be homeless after you get out of the military? You know what I mean? I think people don't understand that, the military in a lot of senses it's and some would say that it's nothing more than just another job, and to a certain extent it is, and you can go in and you do 4 years there. You can do 4 years at any other job, but if you don't take advantages of the certain programs that they have, or at the end of the day, when you do 4 years in any job, you're not getting no retirement. You gotta go and find another job. It ain't just because you were in the military for 4 years, you automatically get out and have all of these. The world's not necessarily waiting for you when you get out with open arms. Like when you out,
it's just like having like a bachelor's. It's just like having a bachelor's degree. You work for the bachelor's degree, and it's like, oh, get in line. Everyone has one.
Exactly. Especially if you get one in a field that is oversaturated, you know? So
it's tough.
Or not needed. Like I have a sociology degree and I haven't done any research or anything like that, but I feel like that's one of those degrees that you need to have another degree on top of it in order to make any type of money, you know? So yeah, cause I see, I'm right outside of Raleigh and I see vets all the time, you know? We have the VA center here in Durham, which is not too far away, but you see them out by the airport and, you know, and different things like that. And, you know, you never know what a veteran has been through to cause them, you know, to be in those certain situations. You know what I mean? So I always think of vet, you know, every time I see them, even though I am one, you know what I mean? Because I understand that the stuff that we go through, you know, a lot of people can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? You know, something that's, we look back right now, you probably, that ain't nothing. Something as simple as going away for basic training for 8 to 10 weeks. You know what I mean? Most people don't do that. Most people, the average person does not leave their house and their loved ones and their families for 8 to 10 weeks, you know? So just moving away for the first time for 8 to 10 weeks, especially if you don't go to college or something like that, is a huge eye opener for a lot of people, you know?
That's one thing I was telling a friend about recently too, is I know when I was in Korea as a little private, one guy, he just got engaged and then he finds out, oh, got to go to Korea for a year. Like, and that's just part of the job.
Yeah. Where was you at in Korea?
I was at a K-16.
Oh, you was at K-16?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was down south.
You were at Humphreys? No,
I was all the way up north. I was at CRC at Red Cloud.
Oh, okay. You were up at Division.
Yeah. We worked we was way up north. It was fun up there though.
I know when I was leaving, they were closing down our base. So like our company was attached to a different battalion. So they moved our company down to Humphreys. And so there were some of us that were, you know, going back home within like a 2-month window. And they said, for all you 2-month spanners, y'all just stay at K-16 and I guess call somebody in HHC every now and then, let them know you're alive.
Dang.
So it was like 2 months vacation.
How many years did you do over there?
2.
You did 2 years? So I only did 1.
And it's funny because when I first got over there, like 2 months after I got there, I got the orders from the branch manager. He's like, you're going to Fort Bragg. And I'm like, the hell I am. I'm going to extend another year. Yeah. So I did another year in Korea. And then he's like, you're still going to Fort Bragg. And I'm like, dang. And then I ended up loving it.
Yeah, so. Fort Bragg.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you my Fort Bragg story. So since a young private, right? I was a young private, you know, E1, E2. I was at Fort Carson. I was a combat engineer. It was my first duty station. And I had this dude that he was super cool. And his name was Sergeant Cooney. Sergeant Cooney was he was an E5, 82nd Airborne, had all these jumps. Then there was another sergeant that came in. And these dudes loved the 82nd, man, the 80 Deuce Airborne. Oh, you know, all of these good, cool, hooah things, right? So after I got out, when I came back in, I spent the rest of my career trying to get to Fort Bragg because of what they had told me. Like, I really value these dudes' opinion and everything. I never forgot about Fort Bragg. Man, when I finally got to Fort Bragg was the worst duty station I had my entire life. You know, I enjoyed my position. You guys were the only reason that I stayed at Fort Bragg. I mean, I got a whole bunch of backstories about Fort Bragg that you have no idea about that went on up at the E7 level. But I was just like, man, I did not like Fort Bragg. I like where it was at in the old location, but I didn't like the units. And I had a hard time at Fort Bragg. Y'all didn't see it, but I struggled at Fort Bragg. Freaking saw Cooney and them, man. But at the same time, I was glad I went there. I wanted to go airborne. I never did make it because I ended up having back surgery and stuff like that. But man, yeah, no Fort Bragg. But Korea was fun. I enjoyed Korea. I know you probably had a blast over there.
I would have loved to go because again, I'm from Florida, so our highest elevation is like Epcot. So to go over there at 18 and like our first night there, they took us out to Uijeongbu, and you look out from the mall and there's like a huge mountain.
Yeah, Uijeongbu.
And I mean, I'd seen mountains in West Virginia when I was like 4 years old, but that was the first time I got to see a mountain, and that was incredible.
Yeah. Man, I remember going to Uijeongbu and all those other places. Cause I only been to Humphreys like a couple of times. I didn't go down there too much. You know what I mean? I stayed up north. Humphreys is?
You gotta take like a $20 cab just to get from one side to the other.
Oh no, I'm good. I think a lot of stuff is down there now. From what I've heard, like a lot of the, Casey and all of those and all of them has moved down south right now, but I don't know.
And they closed Yongsan too.
For real?
Yeah.
Man. I was thinking about going back over there. I want to go back though. Like,
I would love to go back as a civilian.
Heck yeah. If I go, I had to go for like 2 weeks. I'm gonna need at least 2 weeks because I'm going shopping over there. I'm gonna go get me some suits if I go over there all day.
Yeah. The guy I rent from now, his like best friend is from Korea, and he's been over there a couple times and he loves it. Like, so
you need
maybe
to go
one day
back.
I'll get to go back over there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you need to go back.